Kathy, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do. We got 5 out of the 7.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
I'm reading sign language as I'm hearing voices, so we'll do Cindy and Gary right now, but I'll get you Tim. So comments? Any comments on the agenda? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting was properly noticed. Kathy?
Yep.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the January 4th, 2021 meeting. Tim got his hand up quick. Gary seconded. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Public input. Okay. Is there anybody online? Barb, is it?
No, you'll be
Okay.
able to see them if they're
See him.
up there, but there isn't.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right, where's the camera for me? I'm just kidding. All right, number 5, bike trail.
We got the rough trail signs. Roger from Highway brought them over. So I have them in my office if ever when we need them. We also have the trail closed signs. I think they're at the conservation building. Because of things happening, we've had other things going on. Ken and I have not been down the trail yet to figure out what needs to be repaired or put together the final plan for it. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And then Tracy contacted me about Rotary wants somebody to come and talk to them about the new project. What is the new project?
Actually, I'm the one who's responsible for a program.
Oh, okay.
A program topic. And I had asked Tracy if she would be interested in coming to talk about the plans for the trail improvement that we're planning on doing along, with the grant and seeking other grants and stuff. Rotary is an organization that likes to assist and help, and there are a number of Rotarians who are outdoor sports, both silent and otherwise. The other, and I'll just talk about it now, it doesn't have to do with the recreation trail, but I had asked, also emailed Kerry to ask if he would be interested in talking about what the Parks Commission's plans were with respect to the long-range outdoor recreation plan, and of course the property that he has plans, he's making plans for or working on plans for out across from Equity, close to Pine Valley Manor. So I'm looking for a speaker in March now, I guess.
Hearing none, we'll move on to number 6, rifle range. And I will say that I talked to a Bill at the Rockbridge lumber yard, and he told me that he has some lumber 2x6s and 2x8s. Their prices are 2x6s, $12 an 8-foot board, and $16 for the 2x8. And they're white oak, I believe he said. And he believed that was what we were getting previously. 8 feet, 8 footers. And so my plan was to go out there tomorrow with the trailer and get a dozen of them. I told him. Yeah, I went up there today. And so being up there today, the other thing is snow plowing. In the past, I thought that either the township or the county truck that did SR would go up there and make a swing through the parking lot. Somebody has done it at least once this year. There's a couple piles of snow. But there was at least 8 or 9 inches of snow in the driveway when I went out there today. So it needs to be plowed up. The- Okay. Okay. And I've never seen, I don't know who does it, but it's been done in the past. And somebody, whether it was a private person or the county, uh, went in there and did a snow a while ago because there were some old piles off to the north. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Tim, did you have anything on that? Got to get your microphone close to you, Gary.
Yeah, it's gotta be. It wasn't turned on.
Oh, okay.
I know Mr. Monterey pretty well. If you need help, yeah, I can. I'm telling him just to take a pass in there on the rifle range. Okay.
Otherwise, somebody had shoveled the blacktop sidewalk that goes from the parking lot up to the building, and it shoveled underneath the awning there at the building. So I don't know who that was, but it looked really good.
You didn't see any more deer parts there today?
No, everything was white out there today. That's all I have on the.
How much were the boards again?
They were $12 for the 2x6 by 8 feet long, and $16 for the 2x8 by 8 foot long. And a dozen is what he's going to have there for me tomorrow. Rockbridge Park. So I think it was you and I and Carrie are supposed to come up with a plan for parks. And I'm talking to Eric Seamandel right now. And I don't have anything.
I don't have anything either. We haven't got together, so.
So I drove up there a week ago, and there were 2 cars parked there, and I could see the people walking across the top of the rock. And they had used the steps, and I could see where they had brushed off the snow as they went up. And so I don't know what our policy has been in the past, if we, ever had that plowed out. I think this is just unusual because of COVID, that people are finding every opportunity to get outside, and they don't care if they have to sweep off the steps to go up on top of a slippery rock and walk 60 feet above the ground. We're not liable for it under Wisconsin's recreation laws, but it's getting used. People are walking around out there.
I was on Facebook a couple, 3 weeks ago at home, or not Facebook, it was on Google, and I got to share it with something called Only in Wisconsin, and it was ranked one of the top places to go for hiking. And you had talked about the rock and stuff, so it took me a while to get it, but I shared it on our Facebook page. So it's one of the top, I don't know, what, 12, something like that, places to hike. So
I saw that. I really couldn't believe it because it's not that much of a hike unless you count every step that you have to take up, but it sure is picturesque and different than you'd see.
Yeah, I'd be curious as to how many wedding and graduation pictures have been taken out there over the years. I know our family has probably 300 pictures over the years of first, second, third generation now. So at some point, we'll have to get together. The snow's going to melt, the ground's going to thaw out, and people are going to be coming in droves, because that's not going to change as far as getting outside and not congregating by April or May. So we'll have to come up with something to accommodate the people. But I will say, did you all get the email from Kathy stating that we can have up to 25 campsites under our license?
I didn't send it out to everybody.
Okay.
I sent it out to, I think, you two, or because you guys are going to meet out there.
Yeah, so up to 25, and it's just a matter of Kathy says when she fills out the yearly license stuff that she just puts the number of actual sites that we have out there. So that's good news because, that's probably pushing it 25. But, if there's some way that we can accommodate a couple of RV spots, we have plenty of numbers to be able to make all that property out there usable during the busy time, which it sounds like in the spring it's going to be. There's a group up in Yuba called they have concerts up there. My nephew is married to the lady that helps organize the bands up there, but my nephew told me that they've gotten quite a few compliments about Rockbridge camping there, that they really liked it. They had no idea that this kind of thing existed in this part of Wisconsin. So they have at least 6 different venues already scheduled for 2021 out there, and they have a 6-foot place and you can put a tent up, and 3 I think are already booked. So the overflow then goes to Rockbridge and these other places where they can pitch a tent on public property. So just a heads up, it's going to be busy with those folks. And apparently they prefer to camp on the west side of the rock. And they were probably the ones that Mr. Clark saw driving back there and then having to get their cars pulled out by the time they wanted to leave. So I'm sure we'll have to have a conversation with Mr. Clark if we're going to put any kind of fire rings back there, picnic tables, because he's going to watch it.
So when do you have to apply for the permit?
They send it every year, so I don't remember off the top of my head. They send in for renewal, so I'll probably have to look on it. I should make a note to myself to look at it, at the permit again and see and talk to them and see about, they'd have to kind of know how many to add. I don't think we want 25, but if we want to go up to say 15 or 20, I don't know. I think maybe by next meeting, if you can let me know how many you think you're going to have out there, we should, and then I can let them know.
I think a conversation with Mr. Clark would be in order. If we put 12 sites back there, I think he might get excited. So when I walked it before, I figured, 15 feet, you could put easily 6 or 7. You'd have to walk into probably 4 of them, but the other ones you could put out where they park. And the other thing is picnic tables. Dave Fry has contacted me and said, you had this conversation a few months ago about picnic tables. Are you guys going to order? And I said, I don't know. But he's going to get me the literature on what the park gets. He said it was the same price, but they are actual 8-foot tables. Ours were only 6 foot other than the handicap ones. So they're a little larger and they're all composite. So there's no painting, no maintenance to them, which I like. The older I get, the less maintenance I want to do.
Just one time a year that you can apply for camping permits like that?
They send it to you. I mean, it's you pay one time a year. So you're not gonna, that's how you do it. You pay it. It's, once a year.
Well, what I was wondering about is if we're going to have campsites at the new place out by Pine Valley, if it was only like springtime's the only time you can apply, and if we're going to miss out, if we don't kind of jump on top of it already, or what the application process was like.
I don't know. I've never applied for it before. I do know that there's limits on the primitive camping without, Carrie's got all that information. Carrie's researched it a lot. So he'd have the information. I don't right off the top of my head. I haven't, looked at it recently.
How many acres is it?
16 acres.
Out there, we're going to have 33 acres.
Right. Primitive is the base level camping. and is the easiest to obtain because you don't have to have an operating well, if my understanding is right. So my goal would be just to go through with the mower in the spring and, find the highest spots and,
I want to look into if it's only once a year. I would like to try it out there.
yeah, yep. That'll definitely have to be on future agendas when we
Yeah, I.
start that
right.
process.
I think, I mean, when I say once a year, it means like, it doesn't mean that, but I think you probably want to apply for it in the spring, sometime before you have the camping, and then they'll send it to you once a year and bill you. But I don't know, Carrie knows ins and out, how many campsites you can have, be considered primitive. Out at Rockbridge, we do have a source of water if they want it. And we do have electricity. There is some electricity out there if they need it, but we do have the well out there, and we do have the porta potties, the pit toilets. But I don't know about the new place, what that would mean.
Yep.
So,
So that'll be a discussion probably next meeting. We probably want to put that on the agenda.
I would think what would make sense up by Pine Valley would be some small, get that parking right along, county pull off there. That'd be a good place. Well, I don't think we need. We can put on water out there. It goes out there to Pine Valley.
The sewer does. The Pine Valley still uses their water well up on the hill. So, we can't get the cart ahead of the horse. First, we have to the final document on the land swap so we can put the stakes in the ground and then tell you, Gary, how much gravel you're going to haul in there. Sure.
I don't know if you'll know this, Kathy, because you said Carrie knows a lot of it, but who do we have the permit through? Is it through Rockbridge Park or is it Richland County where you could call like it Pine River campgrounds and then you have campground Rockbridge campground? Can you do that?
no, it's site specific. So it's like if you have it at Viola, that's why we can't do Viola.
Okay,
It's site specific, so.
it is. Okay, I just thought if you
So
called them.
otherwise, you could do, there's camping out at the fairgrounds too. That's a separate permit.
Okay, that one's separate. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, anything else on Rockbridge?
I'd be up here back on the shore.
Good. Thank you. Viola Park.
John got the signs up for the garbage.
Yeah, I didn't call you, Gary, because spur of the moment, she had the signs. I had the hardware and had my drill, and so I just went and put them up. I took pictures and sent them to Kathy, so they're logged in case of vigilantism or something. Vandalism, that's it. We can record that we actually had signs up that got vandalized. So any other questions or concerns about Viola Park? Hearing none, we'll go on to kayak landing at State Highway 80 and County Highway BR.
I talked with Mike this morning about mowing in general, and he's gonna put together the contract for, or quote for, we'll have it at next meeting, we'll do the contract. As far as mowing out there, he goes, I don't know how long it's gonna take me, so I don't want to put down a number and I charge you too much or too little. So he is going to do it like he's done with the other maintenance, is just like, I don't know if it's, he wasn't sure if it was, I couldn't remember if it was 25 or 20 or $30 an hour. And he'll bill us then for the mowing out there. Keep track of the hours, and then next year's contract, then he'll have a better idea how much it's gonna cost, and he can add it to the contract.
Okay. So I had one note here on signage. So I went through a year and a half of trying to get wayfinding signs in the city and found out that as an elected official, I could not talk with the state DOT directly. And I threatened to go up to La Crosse and come to their door, and they said they wouldn't talk to me. So they talked to our city clerk treasurer and then sent us a pamphlet of rules, and we put together 28 signs and sent them to them and said, oh, there's been a change. And so signage in cities with state highways is they want you to hire a company and, pay $5,000 more than you would pay for doing it yourself. But I would like to see if there's some way that we can sign that landing along Highway 80, and I don't know how we would do that. Is that something you'd run through the highway commissioner?
If it's gonna be where it's gonna be set, if it's gonna be set on the DNR property, which is what this landing is on, then we'd have to talk with DNR. You know,
Yeah. I'm just looking for information coming from the south and coming from the north on Highway 80 to let them know that it's just ahead, this particular landing. Because at some point, there's going to be a mapping system that people can pull up on their phone and find all our landings in our county. So,
that's probably gonna be a question for Roger,
okay. That's something I can call him on.
if you want, if you remember it, or
Gary? Okay. Right. No, the DNR would just be at the land. Any kind of sign that we would put there on the land that even said this property maintained by Richland County Parks Commission, we would have to get their approval to put a post in the ground at this point, is my understanding. They won't let us put a shelter there. I do know that. So, it's kayak landing, but according to this DOT, there is no language for kayak landing on state highways signs. It's supposed to say canoe or boat, which is silly. There you go. But I'm just don't want guys bass fishing thinking they can drop their 16-foot tracker boat in there and go down the river. So that's what I'm looking for, is signage to warn people that ahead is that entrance to that particular landing. Yes, be state right away. Most of the time they're half a mile before on a 55-mile-an-hour road. So, okay, that'd be awesome. Because that would have to probably come out of somebody's budget, put up those kinds of signs. All right, there's nothing else on the kayak landing. Number 10, Snowmobile Alliance. Eric C. Mandel.
Well, the trails were open. We closed them as of this morning at 6 a.m. to try to preserve what we have between now and this warm up we're having. We're going to be grooming stuff at night when it's cold to try to get it firm back up. That's currently where we're at. I did not make the last Snowmobile Alliance meeting, so I don't think there was anything new. I did go down and measure the bridge on Misa's property and take pictures of it. So Kathy gave me the application here for the grant, so I'll try to get that to her. So that's pretty much all I got.
Well, thank you for pursuing that grant. Those monies are there in a coffer, and we might as well get them along with any other county.
Also, I think whoever is responsible for the postings on Facebook, et cetera, for the Alliance is doing a pretty darn good job at getting the information out there and getting it out there clearly. So thank you. Thank whoever. I don't know if it's you or.
Anybody else have any comments on the Snowmobile Alliance or the snowmobile trails? Or
I did have one question from the public, and that was someone who wanted to know if the trails, and I don't know that everybody does know the difference between trails that are public use and the ones that you've made arrangements for across private property, et cetera. They were wondering if they could hike or snowshoe or cross-country ski on any snowmobile trail. I told them, well, not really. The agreements that the Snowmobile Alliance has with the landowners are generally for snowmobile use. The Pine River Trail, yes, maybe because it's a public use trail, but
Yeah, as far as the private stuff, it's snowmobile only.
yeah, that's what I told them.
Yeah.
Just making sure I'm right.
Yeah, I don't know about the Pine River Recreation Trail.
It's accessible by all public.
Okay.
Yep. Carrie, I think Carrie Severson looked at the ordinances a couple of years ago. Because there was a question on cross-country skiing, and because up north there was some battles years ago with recreationalists and state parks or state lands that were concerned they were going to get hit by a snowmobile, and the snowmobilers said, you're not supposed to be there. And the state said, yeah, they do have a right to be there on the state lands. So I believe that is it is the same with us, that if people can still hike and walk and bike, if you can find the right fat
Well, the
tire
fat
bike.
tire.
Yeah.
I did strongly suggest that if they did do any other activity other than snowmobiling on the Pine River Recreation Trail, that snowmobiles are a lot more powerful than people are. So it would be wise to either kind of keep themselves to the times when perhaps the trails are closed to snowmobiles, and or just keep an ear out because you can certainly hear them coming and get off.
Yeah, the issue was snow dust comes up, and the next guy behind that sled, he just sees a cloud of smoke, snow, and he'll slow down or she'll slow down, but they're all over the trail, and unless you got some bright flashing colors, they're not going to see you. And that was the issue up north. I know was a concern the snowmobilers were going to hit somebody, and that was not their intent, but they were told this was open to the public. So, all right.
I don't know in the future if that should be signed. So, snowmobilers know that there could be other activity going on. And I don't know who should be responsible for that.
As far as this paying for signs, to put up signs?
Yeah, signs that say, cross countries, so people know. 'Cause,
Yeah, well, pedestrian traffic ahead.
Yeah, I don't know
However
who's
you'd
responsible
say it.
for making that signage. And
Yeah, why don't we
putting it
think
up.
about it and come up with a language for the signs first, and then we'll worry about who pays for them.
Okay.
But that's a good thought. It might slow people down a little bit too.
Slow down enough to read the sign.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it'll be at the stop signs at the intersections is where you put them. So. Yeah, that'd be good, Gary. Yep.
I think that's what happens up at the Kickapoo Valley Reserve too. Granted, I don't think there are snowmobile trails up there, but there are certain trails that are really multi-use trails, but they do have which types of activities that trail is designated for.
Yeah, they do have a snowmobile trail does go through there, and horses occasionally do walk on that trail. At least they did 9 years ago, the last time I rode up there. So, all right, snowmobile grant.
Kenny and I went out and looked at the two riprap sites. We got pictures. He's giving me some numbers, and I'll put that together for the snow, or two trail rehab grants, that bridge grant, and then the snowmobile maintenance grant, the annual one. And I have to find out from Cliff if we have to have the resolution. At one time, they were talking about bringing the actual resolutions to the committee first to vote on and take it to the county board, but we'd probably want to take them in March. So the next meeting, we'll either have the resolutions or have you guys approve them. And then we'll take the resolutions to county board in March.
Question, Kathy. Do we know the number already? The number for the grant?
Not after, I don't have the grants with me, so I don't know what the type, I haven't put them together yet.
Okay, so you haven't received anything from the state that says this is how much Richland County
No, we
gets?
put in, we have like, how many miles of trails, and I'm gonna double check with Dustin and we don't have 300 miles of trail.
No, but it's how many miles you have times 300.
Right, correct.
Right.
And it was like 100, between 130 and 145, somewhere in there. I don't remember off the top of my head. So that's the civil maintenance grant we apply for. And then we'll have the bridge. And I'll talk with, probably have to talk with Tina, just get a rough estimate to send in or whatever, a plan. And then the two trail rehab grants. Kenny and I'll get the numbers from Kenny and we'll put those together.
So my question is, when is it that you know how much the state is going to give to the county for reimbursement?
Well, it used to be, I don't know what they're gonna do this year. Last year we didn't have any. And with COVID, they changed everything. It's usually you go up in August to Weston by Wausau and the whole, what is it called? The alliance, the state alliance. Yeah. Yeah, meet, and then you go and defend your projects and say, this is why, if they have any questions, you're there to answer questions.
So how about the $300 a mile grant?
That's just, that one we send in, and
When do you usually receive that number
it's
back?
usually they approve it unless there's.
I was just looking if we can get that on the agenda for resolution as soon as we know that number, so.
You won't know that number until the trails are all in the season. They all been taken out.
So it's June or July by the time you get,
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be out by April 15th or something like that, but
I've done it long enough, I remember.
yeah. But you won't know that because you won't,
Okay.
people won't have their hours turned in by then.
Okay. But everything has to be a resolution now to move stuff along as far as grants and everything.
To write the grants, to apply for them, yes, I have to,
Okay.
that has to be done by April 15th.
Okay.
But then we don't, usually there were some questions go back and forth for a little bit, making sure we got the trail numbers right, miles right for that grant. And then they usually by June or July, we know, but the grant year is actually from July 1st to June 31st.
Okay.
So
any grant that you're going to apply for, do you have to get permission from the county board to write a grant?
correct,
Right. And so,
at this point.
right. So you've measured that bridge and you're going to look at that. And before it gets sent in, we have to have a resolution at the county board that says we would like to apply for this grant.
Yep,
Okay.
we'll have it for the, I want to have it for the March meeting because they're due the 15th of April.
Okay. Good. All right. Number 12, boat landings. I saw one track at Port Andrew on Thursday. It looks like somebody went down there, turned around and drove back out. I thought did somebody try to land a boat? But they didn't. They just drove down there and turned around. So Joe and Mary Ellen Boak live right across from the boat landing. And they're kind of my eyes and ears right now to make sure that nobody goes down there and vandalizes stuff. Because he's very passionate about that landing because they use it quite often. So I've recruited him as our quasi-security. And he has about 30 cats, and he says, I'll just take a whole bunch of cats over there if anybody's getting out of hand. Does anybody know Joe Boak? Yeah. He's a character, but you cross him and. All right. Hidden Valleys.
Nothing at this point.
Okay. And we're still part of it until next fall. We have to do something.
Yeah, we'll have to talk with, I don't know what the procedure is to get out of it.
I know Clint's going to be involved. So. All right, number 14, commission members' reports. Does anybody on the commission have anything they would like to report on? Okay. Other business? Which Mr. Brewer says probably shouldn't be on there, but what did you do to the agenda for Simon's?
Future agenda items.
Yes, future agenda items. So if you could change that to that, that would be great. That way I don't have to hear that from Marty.
I will let Tammy know.
Okay. Number 16, bills.
Okay. Thing off. There's not too many. Richland County zoning is just the pumping reports that had to be turned in for Pier Park and Viola Park for $50. And then, that's, so snowmobile money, it's J&J Equipment LLC for equipment and operator for, they installed a bridge up on the trail up by Kaz. And then, that's 500, and storage and hauling of bridge. It's another $500 by this Gary Harret's Trucking. So I don't know.
Know nothing about them as far as where they put the bridge at or any of that. We have a terrible time getting anybody from the Kaz area to come to our alliance meetings.
Well, there used to be a bridge on Edelman's property there that we questioned taking the tractor across. So I don't, they were both for an even $500?
Yes.
What do you think, Eric?
Does it say where they did any of the work at?
I have it in an email probably back at the office. They said, I don't remember off the top of my head. I forgot to print that off. I'm sorry. I apologize. They said the property, but I don't remember
Oh.
where.
It's not on the bill, though?
No, it's not on the bill. It was in an email that was sent by Flying Farmer.
Oh, that'd be Ryan Cairns.
He sent,
Oh, okay.
so they must have sent it to him.
Probably because he's the treasurer for the alliance.
Okay, and they sent it to us, so.
Okay, that makes me feel better then.
Okay. So the total is 1,000, so the total bills is $1,050.
All right. Motion to approve the bills. Cindy makes the motion to approve the bills.
I'll second.
Eric seconds it. Any questions on the bills? Most of the time, Gary, we don't receive the details. The details go to the Alliance, and the treasurer for the Alliance is Ryan Cairns, and he reviews those bills and then submits them to us. So this body doesn't get the details unless you specifically want those details and don't want to pay the bill, and we'll delay it for another month. That's the process. It's always been that way, that the Alliance secretary treasurer submits the bill to her after reviewing where the bill came from and what the work was done.
Most of the bills we get for things, we get from the ones that are, clubs that are more, like you said, responsive or getting things. And so they usually send them to us directly, and that does say on the bill. But this one was sent to the CAS group, and they sent it to the Alliance, so I don't have.
Yeah, and as Eric expressed, they don't show up at the meetings anymore, and Well, it gets approved at the Alliance, and then the Alliance sends it to us. So if you're requesting more detail, we can.
We usually don't, even on the bills we get, we don't get that kind of detail.
No,
It
again,
just says
it's
they worked on this, they worked on this, and this is how much it is. I
right.
mean, it
And-
doesn't matter if it's from Wanless Construction or whoever that does it. They just say they're working on this place or they're working on this place, not great detail on where they haul stuff from or anything like that.
In the past, when I was on the Alliance, there was a mowing bill that was submitted in one part of the county for like 10 years in a row. And I just went over, investigated myself, and found out that we were being charged for something that was being maintained for this particular farm anyway. And so I just submitted that to the group, and they called the person, and the person stopped submitting their $700 bill. So that's the way you take care of fraud in the Snowmobile Alliance area, because everybody knows everybody. That's right.
It was $250 to truck the bridge, and it was $250 to store the bridge. That one.
Yeah, that would be probably on the Edelman property, and it's in a pasture, and it usually floods out. And so back in the day, they would truck it out and take it down to the farmyard, and they might put a couple boards or railings on it and then take it back in the spring. or fall.
So aren't all them bridges supposed to be recorded for the DNR?
Yep.
I think so. I don't know if
Well,
those,
I know so, because I went out and
yeah.
marked most of ours around here, GPS coordinates wise, 2 years ago.
What I can do, I still have the email from whoever, and I'll just say that you need to have somebody out and GPS the,
My guess is Elaine Hatfield's the one that submitted
Yep.
it to Ryan Cairns. And, yeah, I think they need to get us coordinates of it in a little bit more detail. I mean,
Yep.
I'd pay it this time, but I think we need to have that recorded somehow.
okay, I will,
It was in the past, Gary, yeah. In fact, it's been at 3 locations when I was involved 15 years ago. It had been moved 3 different times in like a 10-year period because of flooding. The areas got so bad that they had to move the bridge to other places, and so it's. Yeah, I don't know now where the barnyard where they had it before didn't have it. Okay.
yep, and I can email, I don't remember who it was Lane or whatever, to say we need to have the GPS location of this bridge for the state snowmobile trail records. And a little more description and the net bills in the
You
future.
get along with Ryan. Yeah, okay.
No, he sent me the bill, but I
Yeah.
think she's the one who originally gave me the information. So, okay.
Awesome. So did we have a vote on the bills yet? All right, all those in favor of paying these bills signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried. Next meeting date?
March 1st at the same time. That's the way it works. It's
March
February and March
1st
unless
at
you have leap year.
5:30. All right.
Here again?
Yeah, this works great. Other than I didn't see the table with the croissants and the coffee, but
That's not me.
Jason must have had his hands full.
You can't do that. Can't do that.
That's why I didn't see it. I thought that was a coffee pot in the middle, but it's not. All right, number 18. Moved by Gary to adjourn, seconded by Tim. Got his hand up first. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, thank you. Everybody be safe out there. Raise your hand if you've gotten your shot.